Okay, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. The Rio Grande Basin's been experiencing near record high temperatures this October. I don't know if any of us remember a balloon fiesta with over 90-degree temperatures, but we definitely saw that this past week. And we've not seen any meaningful precipitation for weeks. This situation has led to insufficient Middle Valley inflows to meet the needs of farmers and their crops. And I'll leave it to Mr. Martinez to provide an update on how this limited water availability is impacting distribution. This morning, the USGS Rio Chama gauge near La Puente, which measures native Rio Grande water, which is water that originates in the Rio Grande Basin and is governed by the rules of the Rio Grande Compact. That gauge reported a flow of 38 cubic feet per second. At this time of year, the La Puente gauge serves as an estimate for the amount of native water in the Rio Chama system. Water users downstream of Abiquiu Dam will likely consume most of this native water that's measured at the La Puente gauge before it reaches Middle Valley users. So currently the release from Abiquiu Dam is approximately 150 cubic feet per second, of which less than 38 CFS is native water, as indicated by the La Puente gauge. The remainder is San Juan Chama project water, and that's water that's imported from the San Juan Basin through the Bureau of Reclamation San Juan Chama project. The Bureau of Reclamation is releasing the bulk of this water to support Middle Valley river flows through the Middle Valley, and then a small portion of that is actually being released by the city of Santa Fe and doesn't make it to the Middle Rio Grande. It is important to note that none of the San Juan Chama water being released from Abiquiu is available for Middle Valley irrigators, as MRGCD released all of its available San Juan Chama water by early September. The USGS gauge at the Embudo, which measures native Rio Grande water upstream of the confluence with the Rio Chama, it's currently reporting about 215 cubic feet per second. This figure provides a good estimate for the amount of native Rio Grande water that's being supplied through the main stem of the Rio Grande. And if we move downstream to the USGS at Odawi gauge on the Rio Grande, which measures both native Rio Grande water and San Juan Chama water upstream of Cochiti Dam, flows there were measuring approximately 345 CFS this morning. And as a reminder, about 100 CFS is San Juan Chama water unavailable to Middle Valley irrigators. As we head into winter season, dry conditions can affect the efficiency of next spring's runoff. And since the basin has experienced little rain in recent weeks, soil moisture levels are low. I am hopeful for some precipitation this fall before the basin begins to experience freezing temperatures. Fortunately, there are some promising signs of cooler weather and potential rain by the end of this week. However, the National Weather Service seasonal outlook for the next 3 months predicts above average temperatures and below average precipitation through December. Sediment from the Rio Chama sediment plug has been redepositing downstream of the original sediment plug that formed from a high intensity rain event in late June. And this has led to inundation in adjacent areas adjacent to the river on the Rio Chama when Abiquiu releases are at or above 150 cubic feet per second. And so right now releases from Abiquiu are currently restricted to this flow rate, which is manageable for now because, as I mentioned, there's not a ton of water in the system, but there is a need to move some water from storage after irrigation season is over, and these limitations could hinder that process. The state is collaborating with the Corps of Engineers and actually is being helped pretty significantly by the utility authority on some of that permitting process or some of the compliance stuff to secure permits for sediment removal in time so we can have time to facilitate moving that water that's currently in storage that needs to get moved down to Elephant Butte this winter. I am also concerned about channel limitations impacting our ability to manage spring runoff flows through the Rio Chama next year, but we're hoping that some of that sediment removal this off season is productive. At the end of 2023, New Mexico's Rio Grande Compact debt stood at 121,500 acre feet. Since this debt is calculated at the end of the calendar year, we do not yet know what New Mexico's debt will be at the end of 2024. However, I have been tracking deliveries so far this year, and as of the end of September, New Mexico had delivered a higher percentage of measured flows at Odawi to Elephant Butte than we have in the past 5 years. So I think we're a little ahead of the curve than where we have been in recent years. This gives me hope that by the end of 2024, New Mexico may have made some progress in addressing its Rio Grande compact debt. And with that, I will encourage everybody to pray for rain and stand for questions.